Hi, I'm Greg Dell with attorneys Dell and Schaefer, and I'm joined by attorney Stephen Jessup. And today we are going to talk to you about an issue that we're seeing commonly with the Great West Life Insurance long-term disability policy. Specifically, Steve, I want to talk about the disability policy that is being sold. I believe it's through the American Dental Association, obviously being sold to dentists. And what's the most common challenge that you're seeing with that policy for the numerous dentist clients that we've represented?
I think the hardest aspect of it is in proving disability, you have to establish, according to the policy, objective medical evidence sufficient to Great West. So that means you could maybe have MRI findings that could be deemed minimal, but they're still positive findings, and it could be a situation where Great West will determine that the objective evidence isn't strong enough to support. Or you commonly see with dentists, any type of wrist issues, whether carpal tunnel, cubital tunnel syndromes, EMG and nerve conduction studies don't always document it properly. And speaking to neurologists, they say they're talking in such microfractions of seconds and milliseconds that it doesn't always tell the story. So someone may be having the symptoms, having the problems, but it's not showing up on the testing. So Great West will always argue that there's no objective medical evidence to support the problem that they're having.
So we've had many dentists call us and say, I have this policy, I'm having wrist pain, wrist numbness in my fingers, and we'll ask them if they had an EMG or a nerve conduction study test, and they'll say, let's assume they say, yeah, I did, and we'll say, well, did you have any positive findings? And then they'll say, no, it showed that I did not have any positive findings on the EMG test. Is that person going to be unable to collect benefits?
I mean, I think there's ways to try to establish it otherwise, but I think it's safe to say that they're going to probably have a very difficult time getting Great West to pay the benefit because of that requirement of objective medical evidence.
Okay, I think that Great West is clearly going to challenge that claim pretty severely, but I think there are ways around that to work with the doctor to try to document exactly what's going on there. And they talk about this objective medical standard. What does that really mean, objective evidence?
Well, the problem is, according to their policy, it means what they want it to mean by their stance. But objective medical evidence would be things like the nerve conduction studies, EMGs, MRIs, if it's a cervical radiculopathy problem, CT scans, things along those lines that, if you can put up, you can look at it and see, hey, this is exactly why this person's having X, Y, and Z problems.
If a claimant were to say, you know what, my EMG was negative, but I'm going to do a functional hand evaluation, and that comes back and shows findings that say, yeah, you have restrictions, limitations with the use of your hands, you're showing weakness, limited range of motion. Do you think that could be considered objective evidence of the disability?
I would think it would have to be, just similar to like a functional capacity evaluation. I think you do run the risk where the insurance company, Great West, will try to say, well, this is subjective. Maybe you weren't putting forth adequate effort. It's a little easier to challenge, but in the scheme of medical evidence, that is objective testing.
I think one of the biggest advantages that if you're a dentist and has this Great West policy is that it's usually, and there are rare circumstances, not governed by ERISA. And that's a huge benefit because most group plans, which means when you're part of a large group or an employer-provided benefits governed by ERISA, and you're not entitled to a jury trial. But with this particular policy, you're getting it because you're a member of the American Dental Association, and as a member, you have the right to buy that policy. So therefore, you're not employed by the American Dental Association, and you'd be exempt by ERISA. And the beauty of being exempt by ERISA is that if you choose to challenge a claim denial, you're going to get a jury trial. And that is so significant because, in my opinion, the language that says to the satisfaction of Great West, if you can get past a summary judgment motion, which I think you pretty easily could, a jury is not really going to care what was at the discretion of Great West. So I think a dentist has a really strong upper hand if they choose to take their particular claim denial to trial based upon a denial for a lack of medical evidence. So if you're a dentist and you have a Great West policy or any other type of medical professional or business professional that's purchased a Great West policy, feel free to give any of our attorneys a call. We're happy to review your claim and let you know right away if we can assist you.